Hello and welcome to Soul Arrow. Alright, so today, this is a bonus episode, right? This is not part of Season 2, if I'm doing a Season 2, right? This is just a bonus episode, okay? I did a thing, sort of psychologically, magically, whatever, and I wanted to share it with you guys and see what you think, right? So, there's a psychological principle / magical principle called shadow work, alright? Now, automatically, when you hear the word shadow work, you're thinking, ooh, that sounds evil. That sounds like the dark side of magic. Yes and no. Yes and no. In the sense that internally, you're working with the part of yourself that you usually seal away, right? You're accessing that id, right? And allowing the id to actually be a positive force. Psychologically, we tend to stay away from the id because it's the part of ourselves that we don't want to cop to as human beings. That we are animals, that we are fragile, that our wants and dislikes are very base in nature, essentially. You don't want to admit, like, hey, I'm just a horny animal, because that's embarrassing, you know, that you shit like everybody else. You want to be seen on a glowing hill, wearing your best suit, you know, presenting your best case for why you are a civilized and good human being, right? And not the reality, which is that you are that sometimes, certainly, but that's more of an act than when you're taking a dump. Or being horny, or whatever. Like, those parts of yourself are just as real as the ego part, the put upon part, you know? The part that you're doing is just as real as the part that is actively happening inside of you, okay? This is especially bad when you have intrusive thoughts, okay? When your mind is saying, stick your hand in the toaster. Because then you're like, oh shit, some part of me wants to stick my hand in the toaster. When the reality is that some part of you doesn't. It's just that because you reject the idea of sticking your hand in the toaster, the idea is especially spicy. You reject 5 bajillion ideas a day, you know, most of which are just casually terrible. But some of which are actually, like, dangerous. Some of which will actually, you know, go against your code. And the ideas that go against your code are the ones that you remember. Those are the intrusive thoughts, right? Because they're not just ideas you rejected. They're ideas that are rejected that you generated that are fundamentally different than what you would normally do. You see. So the thing is with intrusive thoughts and the id is that the intrusive thoughts convince us that we have like a monster inside of us. The monster is growing. You know, the intrusive thoughts convince us of that, and then we seal away the id. You know, because we don't want the id to be a statement on who we are as individuals. But the reality is that ignoring your inner animal is the best way to guarantee that you end up doing something stupid eventually, right? Because you don't know the good ideas from the bad ideas. The animal is awake all the time. The ego sleeps occasionally, right? So the idea of shadow work is to learn to tame, harness, and understand that animal. To delve into the deepest, darkest parts of yourself, the parts that you don't like to talk about too much, right? And get down and busy with the work of actually doing something about that stuff, of actually acknowledging it. What you're not aware of, you can't control, okay? So by becoming aware of this darker aspect of yourself, this whatever you've got going on, you're automatically more able to deal with your problems in a constructive way. So that's shadow work, right? We're acknowledging the shadow so that we can see the light. Let's get to it. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 5 things that you do not like about your life. 5 problems. Okay? Take a piece of paper, write 2 sentences down about each problem. All right? We're not going on forever, but just a little bit. Okay, so write down your 5 problems. I have my 5 already. I did this last night. I did the homework in advance, kiddos. That way I could give you the curriculum. Spicy. Okay. So I wrote down 5 problems. Actually wrote down 6 problems. I'm only sharing 5 with you. And now we're going to ask ourselves a few yes or no questions. There's a little grid. I might show you an example of the grid that I made, and the 3 questions on screen. We'll see if I do or not. It depends on how much editing Dr. Making Stuff wants to do. But here are the 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself about each problem. Are you safe from it? Are you safe from it is a simple, is this thing going to negatively affect you like now or ever? Okay? Right? Like, what is the conceivable situation? How high is the bar to entry, essentially, for this problem to actually be a problem for you? Is it something totally unrealistic, like you're afraid of the monster under the bed? That's not really a problem. The monster's not going to get you. Being afraid of the monster might get you, you know what I mean? But being afraid that there's a monster under the bed, in and of itself, is not really a problem because there's not a monster. It's not going to fucking get you, right? But are you safe from it? You check yes or no. That's the first question. You know, is it a problem that could immediately affect you, right? You know, are you getting foreclosed on and you're going to lose your home? That's a very present danger. You know what I mean? Like, that could negatively affect you, like, now, right? So, write down a problem. Is it currently, are you safe from it? Next question. Is it something that you can accept? If the problem bore fruit and it became as bad as it could be, theoretically, right? Are you willing to accept that problem, right? I should have specified this, but these are problems with yourself and not just with, like, the world at large. These are problems you have about you, okay? So you're asking, is this a problem that I can accept? Can I accept being lazy, or being poor, or being stupid, or whatever you think is wrong with you, right? Take a look at it. Think about it. Is this a problem that you're willing to jive with? Question number 3, is this something that you are currently doing something about? All right. So those are the 3 questions. Now, there are 3 expanded versions of this question, right? The 3 expanded version for your journaling purposes are, why is this a problem? You know, / is it a problem? That requires you to write some answers down, and it's not a yes or no version. Is this something I can accept about myself, right? And you write down why it's not, if it's not, why it is, if it is. What have I / will I do about it? And then you write something down in detail. The journaling versions of the questions would take you longer to answer. Just answer the yes or no one for now, right? So if you have a triple no thing, right? So are you safe from it? No. Are you willing to accept it? No. Are you doing something about it? No. Then you have a class A problem. You have an actual fucking issue, right? You have something about yourself that is not only problematic to you, but that you are in a clear and present danger, or at least you perceive yourself to be. It's something that you will not accept. It cannot be ratified. It's not just a quirk. It's something you really don't like. And you're not doing anything about it. Oh no. Oh gee golly willikers, Sally Mae, what are you doing? You know? Now, I'll share with you what some of mine problems are. Mine problems? So the first one, not really the first one, but the first one I'm willing to share with you, is unhealthy, physically unfit, chest hurts, fat, weak, less attractive, aches and pains all over, aging poorly, and people say I'm crazy / anger issues, drinking, whatever. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. That's more than 2 sentences. I broke the rule, right? So my first problem is that I perceive myself to be unhealthy, okay? This is I put a star next to this one because it is a triple no problem. Right, I have 3 ends, dude. I'm not safe from it. I'm not gonna accept it, and I'm not doing anything about it right now, or at least not anything meaningful. I do go to therapy and stuff, you know what I mean? I occasionally exercise. I'm trying, but it's not. I don't have a game plan when it comes to tackling this issue. Okay. because I'm unhealthy in 1,000 different little ways. But that's one of the things you'll notice, right? That's what the 3 questions with the journaling aspect of this is. Why is it a problem / is it a problem? Is this something you can accept about yourself, and why not? What have you done about it? The reason for the journaling version of these questions is because you're going to write out shit that's going to make you realize whether your problem is one problem or a conglomeration of issues. You're going to find out in detail what you actually think of this, because you might not know, right? You might be ignoring all of your major problems. A lot of people do, you know, and then they hit you someday and you're like, oh my God, I've been dealing with this issue for years and hadn't thought about it. Well, don't worry. The Blue Wizard is here. The Blue Wizard is here to make you aware. So right. So now you've identified, right, out of your 5 problems, probably an issue you don't care as much about. You know, like sometimes my hair isn't brushed and people say I'm scruffy looking. I'm sorry. 5 times out of 10, that is, if somebody else thinks it's a problem and you don't actually think it's a problem, you're not actually probably going to do anything about it. You're going to maybe hide the fact that you're not doing anything about it. Maybe you'll put your hair up in a, you know, bun or something, but you're not going to actually really give much of a shit. You're not going to alter the behavior if the only incentive to alter the behavior is that other people might not like the thing. Usually, there's exceptions to that, but like, that's not as much of an issue as, well, I have been drinking every night to try to get to sleep. You know, like that might be an issue, right? All right. So next triple star problem. This is the next one where it's like, this is 3 ends on my part. Not making money for myself / not being independent. Okay. So I've been working on making money for a long time. Getting disability, going to various jobs, you know, whatever. But even with the disability, I'm still dependent on the federal government deciding whether or not I can have money. This is very scary for me, okay? I'm used to being in control over myself, my destiny. I'm a martial artist. I talk about that a lot, right? But it's a big influence on my belief system. And I'm a big fan of the Book of 5 Rings. And the first thing you're supposed to do in the Book of 5 Rings is master, you know, your physical reality, your eating, your safety, your roof over your head, whatever. Okay, you're supposed to get the fundamentals of life down, fundamentals of physical discipline down. And I have no control over my physical reality right now, and that is a fucking problem. It's also on the hierarchy of needs. Okay, if you look at the hierarchy of needs and Musashi's Book of 5 Rings, they actually line up really well, like surprisingly well. Like they're even in the same order. But all of your physical needs, all right, are the path of Earth, I call it, right? It's the ring of Earth in the Book of 5 Rings. But yeah, so the path of Earth is your physical reality, and right now I'm incapable of taking care of that first stage. And the stages build on top of each other, which means I can't get to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th layer of enlightenment without being able to take care of the first. I mean, I could, barring like big jumps of enlightenment, I could sit under a tree until I become enlightened, but that's an unlikely way to go about it, right? Usually, you're going to become self-actualized over a lifetime, and then develop enlightenment slowly over time. So I can't get to greater stages of personal wellness because I am not in control of my environment at all. And that is not good. So the path of Earth and not being in control over it is a big problem. It's something I'm actively concerned about. Is it dangerous to me? Yeah, because at any time I could lose my hat. I could lose my home, lose my money. Right now they're not giving me my money. Even I haven't gotten my first disability check yet because I had a life insurance policy. Right? Is it something I can accept? No. I've been dependent on my family for years and years and years, and I've been railing against it the entire time. Are you doing something about it? Fuck if I'm not trying to, but it seems like everything I can do about it is impossible. I need money to make money so then I can be independent. So I'm going to have to live off the charity of others for a while until otherwise, right? Unfortunately, I can't just go out in the wilderness and start like fishing and making a, shelter for myself or whatever. If I could, I would, If I could just say, fuck all y'all, I'm gonna go live, then I'd do that. But unfortunately, I'm a city person, and I need other people to survive, at least until I make enough money to make my own way. Okay, so, that's the state that a lot of modern humans that are. Most of you could not go out and just go to the cave somewhere and, provide for yourself. Me neither. So am I doing something about it? No, not effectively. Effectively, I have to wait for the kindness of others to build up enough, stuff to be able to make things, to be able to sell them, to then be able to make more things, to be able to sell them, and then eventually I get to be financially independent and decide what time I want to wake up, what things I want to do. Give me a second, my fucking alarm's going off. Professionalism! Okay. Alright, and I'm back, right? So, that was my second problem. Problem number 3. Being too lazy to make dreams come true, / being afraid of just being some guy on a couch. This is not a triple star issue. Let's see, what do we got here? Am I safe from it? No, it's a thing, right? I feel like I lack the energy to do the things I want to do. Is it something that I can accept? Not really, I kind of demand greatness from myself. Am I doing something about it? No. No, I'm not. Except I do. I do make things. I do try. But, those aren't adequate things. There's not enough discipline. There's not enough trying. There's not enough. But honestly, I probably don't have the energy to do shit because of the first problem, which is that I'm really unhealthy. So I have a feeling that if I take care of the health business, that eventually the being lazy business might go away too. Nobody's ever really lazy, okay? If you don't feel like doing shit, it's because there's something wrong with you. If there's something that you're burning, you have a burning dream, a burning desire to do it, and you're not doing it, okay? Something is wrong. I'm not lazy. I'm fucking sick. There's a difference. But the fact that I wrote it down as me being lazy says something about the way I view myself. Part of the shadow work business, right? I didn't think, oh, I'm sick. My problem with it is actually the weakness that's coming from my unhealthiness. No, I wrote down I'm lazy, right? That bad way of thinking, that negative self-talk, right? Where I'm like, oh, this problem is your fault, automatically. That's not kind. That's not good, right? I wouldn't say that to somebody else. If somebody else said, I can't drag myself out of bed in the morning, I don't know what's wrong, I wouldn't say, fuck you, you're being lazy and undisciplined, right? I would say, like, you need to drink more water, you need to, go to a doctor, get fucking cortisol levels checked, whatever, right? I would be like, hey, what's going on? I'd be curious, I'd want to help. I wouldn't say, you're lazy, fuck off. So why do I talk to myself in a way that I don't talk to other people? Because fundamentally, you expect things of yourself that you don't expect of regular people. All right, number 4. Being rejected / loss of others, families, friends, fans, etc. Okay. Being rejected is a super common fear. I have a surprisingly terrible variant of it. I fundamentally think of myself as being a really bad person. All right, as a monster. Lifetime of reasons for that. Of feeling that way. I'm always painfully aware of what's going on in my id and my ego, my super ego, right? I'm always like, so every little foible is amplified because I'm like aware of it, I consciously know I'm fucking up while I'm fucking up. And sometimes that shit's like a train and you just can't divert the course, right? So when you know every flaw that you have, when you see all the flaws, it's easy to think, why would anybody like me? Why would anybody want to be with me? That kind of thing can make you feel really insecure, right? I talk about being canceled a lot on this channel. Why am I so fucking paranoid about it? I'll say like, oh, I don't actually really think anything terribly problematic. But then I'm still afraid in the next video of being canceled. Why is that? Because I want, on some level to, how do I put this? to either not be afraid of that, right, or to have control over it in some way. If I tattle on every negative thing that I think and feel, then maybe I'm in like a little bit of control over whether or not I get negatively affected by other people. I'm like, if I get rid of all of the people who would want to cancel me now, then in the future nobody will cancel me. Right? And the reality of that is nobody wants to cancel me now. I don't even have any public enemies like that, right? I'm just fucking paranoid over it. Because I think, oh, I'm such a terrible person. Obviously, people are going to reject me. I'm going to reject them preemptively. All right? But I have a particularly vile variant of people are going to reject me. It's, well, if people aren't going to accept me, I'm not going to accept them, so they can just screw off, right? And it's, you know, and it's, oh, I'm going to tattle on myself, and then at least I get to control what people think about, you know, my fuck-ups. The things that are wrong with me. That's a very self-destructive attitude. You know what I mean? My thinking about people rejecting me is all fucking screwy. Now, to be fair, I can't blame myself too much. I look back on a person who did not have control over the things that happened to them. The abuse, the bullying, the times in my life where I got rejected where I really shouldn't have. The times in my life where I worked hard for somebody and they twisted the knife anyways, right? I look back at myself and I'm like, I understand completely how I came to this conclusion. I'm very sympathetic with the fact that I came to this conclusion. That being said, it's the wrong way of going about things, right? Everybody's guilty of betraying me until proven innocent, you know? And it doesn't take too many betrayals for me to be like, I just can't trust this person anymore, fuck him. Right? So what ends up happening is I end up rejecting a lot of people, right? Out of fear of being rejected by people. Basically, if somebody gets a little squeamish around me, if somebody's like, oh, I don't know if I like that thing you're doing or saying, I'm automatically like, fuck you then. I have like the severe trauma response to it. And it's definitely negatively affected my life. Anyway, okay, so hopefully by this point, you've wrote down 5 problems that you have with you. You've asked yourself the 3 questions. Are you safe from it? Is it something that you can accept? And are you doing something about it? And you've also, hopefully after this video, take the time to answer the 3 journal versions of the question. Why is it a problem? / is it a problem? Describe. Is this something I can accept about myself? If not, why not? What have I / what will I do about the problem? Okay, I'll write down in detail. And that might give you some insight into what's going on with you guys. This has been the Blue Wizard / Dr. Making Stuff. Have a wonderful day.
Cruel and cold like winds on the sea, will you ever return to me? Hear my voice sing with the tide, my love will never die. Over waves and deep in the blue, I will give up my heart for you. 10 long years I'll wait to go by, my love will never die. Come, my love, be one with the sea, rule with me for eternity. Drown your dreams so mercilessly, and leave their souls to me. Play the song you sang long ago. And wherever the storm may blow, you will find the key to my heart. We'll never be apart. Wild and strong, you can't be contained, never bound nor ever chained. Wounds you caused will never mend, and you will never end. Cruel and cold like winds on the sea, will you ever return to me? Hear my voice, sing with the tide, our love will never